Well, it's Mike Matthews, and this is the longest-running self-produced daily podcast on planet Earth. Welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast. So you might be driving to somebody's house for Thanksgiving, a family member. Maybe people are driving to your house, or maybe you're not going to drive at all. Good for you. But there was a personal injury law firm that came out with a study on where the worst roads in the nation are. They are called Munley Law, and they basically want you to use them if you have any personal injury stuff happen. So they decided to crunch the data and come out with the acceptable road quality states. And I guess a lot of companies are doing this kind of thing where they want to get their name out, so they come out with these interesting studies that they do on their own using other people that made studies, because they took this from the folks at the U.S. Bureau of Transportation Statistics. They do their own version of the data, and then they release it as a press release, and then somebody like the Sacramento Bee picks it up, and that's who picked up this article. Or if a company wants to publicize itself, they do a podcast. So, hey, that's a great suggestion for you. Podcasting is so easy these days. The equipment is so easy to get. It's cheaper. It's easier to use. And there's all these platforms that make it easy for you to upload. But apparently the worst state with the worst roads, the worst road state, if you want to call it that, would be New Jersey. The best is Idaho. California comes in at 46, so it's not doing that good, apparently. It says here, weather conditions can contribute to poor road infrastructure in the state. Hey, good luck, safe travels to you wherever you go, but follow me now as we go into, because we're right here already. Hey, we've arrived, so we don't have to do much traveling now. We just got to walk into Café Anyway. Café Anyway. All right, here we go.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It is FF episode 2962, 2962, and Mike Matthews, the pre-Thanksgiving show, and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm in my secret location here at Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. And if you've been taking a tally, it's FF episode 2962, 2962 FF episodes, and you probably are in that mode of cooking or wanting to get people fed.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
As we get into the Thanksgiving holiday, I don't know. I can't believe when it's Thanksgiving.
Daily
It usually comes out of left field.
Podcast.
Although if you're a manager like I am, you gotta know a little bit that it's coming up, because you've got all your staff wants off, and you gotta prepare ahead of time. In radio, we gotta do all kinds of preparation ahead of time. So I guess every year, though, when I was a kid, my birthday would fall sometime around Thanksgiving, and it'd be this nice little surprise. Oh, it's like a Christmas early. But did you know that parents are going to spend more than $170 on holiday gifts for each child that they have? 29 shopping days remaining until Christmas, or wait, maybe 28, something like that, with Black Friday and Cyber Monday just moments away. Parents are feeling the pressure to stock up on gifts for their kids. Retailers and brands are preparing for heightened price sensitivity. Heightened price sensitivity. The 2024 holiday forecast is for 2% year-over-year global sales growth for November and December. 2%, that comes out to $1.19 trillion for the holiday forecast. And the U.S. is expected to reach $277 billion. That is up 2% from last year. And
here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture is going to be of somewhere that I was about a week ago. No, maybe a little bit last weekend, as we were celebrating my birthday and doing a bunch of traveling, my lovely lady friend and I. See that at mikesdailypodcast.com. And also go to mikesdailypodcast.com to see the video of this, because I have a very cool t-shirt on that was given to me by another podcaster. And however, I'm doing this on Facebook, my Facebook page, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to flip around the image. So I'm in a reverse mirror image. But it is for Fuego Somrisa, I think is the name of it. And it's an incredible t-shirt. So see that at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com, and past podcast pictures of the late great Basil the Boxer, who went with me on many Mike excursions all around the Bay Area. And some of the cool Mike excursions I did recently was this past weekend. See a picture of that at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. 43% of consumers carrying more debt than they were the year ago. 43% of consumers carrying more debt. So sales are expected to be up 2%. If you have one child, you're going to be spending about $202 on presents. Gen Z moms spend more on kids' gifts than millennial moms. Parents with multiple kids spend about 18% less per child. The more kids, the more you're not going to get as much. But I don't know. That makes those kids tougher, right?
Mike, you want to join in on this conversation? You can join in.
What are we talking about?
You can.
Being an only child? Yeah, that was crazy. Being an only child. You find your friends. Your friends were your Legos. You play with your Legos because there weren't anybody or anyone wasn't a bigger brother, bigger sister, younger brother, younger sister to play with. Nobody.
All I want to do is sit on a couch and eat corn chips.
Which is what probably I was doing more of because I was an only child. I was a big kid. Even with the big discounts, Roscoe P. Coltrane, the costs add up quickly. And I got all that from the guy we just heard from, Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He's heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings. And he's on Cron TV Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock hour. Monday through Thursday at Cron. Right. I made a mess. Weddings are getting more expensive next year. You're planning to get married? Well, this year, the average cost of a wedding got to $33,000. Low-cost weddings can cost between $5,000.
Dilly.
And maybe you have a bunch of people say that at your wedding, even though I don't know if that is that beer commercial. Does anyone remember that anymore? Between $5,000 and $15,000, those low-cost weddings can be. Wow, $5,000 and $15,000. And they include a small guest list, DIY elements, simple catering. High costs for a wedding could go up to $50,000 and include luxury venues, designer attire, gourmet catering.
They will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
That's going to be one heck of a wedding then. A destination wedding in Europe can cost around $35,000. The average cost per guest is about $75 for a wedding. Venues typically account for about 47% of the budget, almost half of the budget when you're getting married. Live music is becoming a popular choice for ceremonies, receptions, and cocktail hours. Live music, not so much the DJs. For my wedding, which didn't last, but my wedding, we had a guy who played the violin during the sit-down dinner portion of the reception. And then he became a DJ.
Latina Uzi.
And next thing you know, we were dancing the conga and everything. He was playing the music off of his, I think he had a CD mixer type thing going on. Photo booths have a lot of staying power. They've been living on in weddings. I was in a wedding earlier this year, went to one, and yes, there was a photo booth that they made on their own. They didn't hire some people, because a lot of people do that. They'll hire the people that then post it online and stuff. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in PodCastro Valley, in the land of Ameritopica, PodCastro Valley Mont. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. But Anyway, Café Anyway. That was fun. They did, DIY. So they bought these cameras that were basically Polaroids. They spat out a little picture after you took it. And when I say little, it was little. About a little bit bigger than a postage stamp, but there was your picture. So let's see. Did you know that this year, music revenue hit $4.5 billion last year, double the number from two.
Oh, yes. I know all about how to spot microaggressions and root out privilege.
Good for you. 2014, the music revenue overall was double from 2014. And higher than the global box office's pre-pandemic peak of $41.9 billion in 2019. Music revenue. How do you get in on that? Do you do the Spotify, the Bandcamp? Does Reverb Nation still exist? Getting your music out there. I don't know. I'm having trouble getting the podcast out there after 2,962.
We have a knight who say neat
episodes. So the AMC theaters, they ban moviegoers, speaking of singing and songs, from singing along to screenings of Wicked. There's a local radio station that all day long they play the Taylor Swift, and the what else? The Maroon 5, the constant Dua Lipas. All day long they're playing that. And suddenly now they're playing excerpts from Wicked, which does not sound good on a station like that. It doesn't.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
The station really falls when they do that, but I guess they're getting paid for it. So there's some kind of synergy going on between the movie company that made that movie Wicked and this radio station. Who knows? That's a nice work if you can get it. I'd play their music on my podcast if they paid me. But the AMC theaters are banning moviegoers from singing along to the screenings of Wicked. And if you have a problem with that, well, you got to just take it outside. Hey, and one last thing.
Nuts! They're nuts!
That's
they
right.
know nothing!
Singing. They should let me sing. The Senate report has slammed the airlines. American, Delta, United, Frontier, and Spirit together brought in $12.4 billion from seating fees. And the Senate is trying to stop that. Now, when the Senate becomes full Republican next year, will they still carry on this type work? I hope so.
What in the world was that about?
But they seem to be pretty big corporations, so they may not take American, Delta, United, Frontier, and Spirit to task, although Spirit is bankrupt now. But they had a lot of seating fees, and Spirit, I'm sure, accounted for most of that $12.4 billion. But that was between the years 2018 and 2023.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way.
You shouldn't treat people that way. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Sarah Huckabee, Arkansas governor. Now, will they be doing Neuralink implants in Arkansas? Well, Neuralink has successfully implanted its brain chip in 2 human patients, and now it wants to hook it up to a robotic arm. Elon Musk.
All right, Mike, take care. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Okay, they don't want that. I guess they don't want the implant. All right, well, Elon Musk's brain implant startup is launching a trial to create a Luke Skywalker solution. Remember Luke Skywalker? He lost a hand in that fight in Empire Strikes Back. And then by the end of the movie, he's got a robotic hand. It's like, oh, okay, I guess it doesn't really matter. What happened? What you lose in that universe? Lose your face, and you can still live on in the Star Wars galaxy. Anyway, Café Anyway. This is very futuristic, and I'd like to feature this at the very end of this podcast, and that is the Bitcoin price. So now I think it's over $98,000 to purchase a Bitcoin. See, I don't understand this. I keep seeing these headlines.
Nuts?
The price of Bitcoin has soared since Donald Trump won a re-election. Since he won re-election, this came from PC Mag. The price rose from roughly $73,000 on Election Day to an all-time of over $98,000 early Thursday morning. So this came out last week. So, and I heard it's gone even higher, could go even higher on Thanksgiving Day. So somebody is going to pay that much money. Basically, the amount of money you would spend on a house in a state that is not California. Or maybe the price you would pay for a super, super, super nice car, or, for just one Bitcoin. That is how people are making money, is they sell it to somebody who's got that money. That blows my mind that people have that kind of money. That is, I don't know, when everybody starts to realize how crazy this is and ridiculous, and Bitcoin, let's see, as of this recording, I think it's at $95,932. Wow. So if somebody pays for a Bitcoin that much money, and that basically is the price of a house in a state that's not expensive like California, maybe like in Alabama, where I've lived, or, somewhere, maybe Sarah Huckabee's state, for example. You could buy a house for that much, for one Bitcoin. It's crazy. It's bizarre. But you know who else is bizarre? The people that are hanging out outside of Café Anyway. Let's say hi. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that much for a Bitcoin or any coin. I mean, a coin is like a penny. Just ask Nelly.
Thank you, Nelly. Yeah, don't get it. But yeah, I'm not a big multi-million-dollar crazy dude. I just have a podcast that's daily. And so that's that. But I think it's time to get a root beer. Look who's here.
Hello, Mike. I make delicious root beer. Have some right now.
All right. Hey. I'm drinking that beer right now. I mean, root beer. With Oh, wow, that's delicious. What's in it?
Martinelli's.
Martinelli's. Oh, my gosh. Martinelli's. What's the price of stock in Martinelli's? Because that never goes away. That always comes back every holiday in Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would say. So, hey, you're not going to be able to catch this podcast anymore on Samsung Podcasts. It ends this weekend. They've gotten rid of their podcasts. They're not going to distribute podcasts anymore, which is a shame, because there's a heck of a lot of Samsung phones out there, and that would be a great way for it. Now, are they going to replace it with some kind of a Samsung podcast app? I think they should. I don't know. But all I got was this discontinuation notice that said, well, basically, thank you for using the Samsung Podcast CMS. We would like to inform you that December 1st, the podcast will be terminated. So we'll see what they do. But till then, there are all kinds of places you can catch this podcast. You can go to mikesdailypodcast.com to find out what they are. And if you would like to call me and tell me what you think about any of the stuff we covered on today's show, here's the phone number to Café Anyway.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!